Welcome back to another video on Gearsaw Studios, and today I'm going to be showing you how to build yourself some UFOs. Different colors here, some of them have tractor beams, some of them are landed, and then we have one with a giant laser. So without further ado, let's investigate how we'd go about building this. Starting out, in order to build your UFO, this is going to be airborne by the way. If you want to make it grounded, then I recommend starting maybe like 5-6 blocks off the ground and then adding gray concrete legs at a diagonal angle. But anyways, you want to start off by going to a wide open area, preferably near any other space themed builds, or if you have a nuclear power plant by chance, definitely near those. Then what you want to do is open the description and there will be a building tools link tree. Click on it and then go to building tools diagram, and that will open the circle generator. And then you will be able to make a circle for your UFO to make it perfect without having to just guesstimate and such an accidental imprecision, stuff like that. Just put in 25 by 25. Of course, the tutorial is a bit open-ended, so you can substitute that for other things, but I strongly recommend that it's an odd number. Now, we have a gray circle, nothing too crazy. Potentially, you could double up on it and then make it like this thick, or potentially add some green lights in the middle, like this, but it's up to you on that one. Now, what we want to do is add some of the plating to this. And what we do is go to the edge and bridge out maybe like 5 blocks or so. However, you'll notice that if I continue this, then the border doesn't look so good. So potentially make a second smaller circle around this. Don't worry about mathematical accuracy for this one. Simply just make it a little bit smaller. You can potentially replace your original gray circle with lime concrete if you want, and that would make an interesting phenomena around your thing because you could now sneak in some frog lights to that. Either way, there's a lot of ways we can go about this, but basically we want gray concrete up here, something like this. Oops, wrong button. Something like this going up, although it's up to you what you want to do for that one. Now, with a few light gray concrete layers up, well, you can see I have a lot more going on, and it's going to the middle, where you can see I have a dome. And I recommend adding a few spikes around the dome itself, and then once you do that, mirror this on all 4 sides. And for reference, here's another UFO I built, and the little things on the side that I'm going to be adding later, you can see, well, they're just embedded into there, but the things built a little bit differently. Hypothetically, you could cram your size into smaller scale to see what you can do with a small UFO, but I'm going to leave mine larger at 25 by 25. Anyways, adding those spikes, and now I'm going to add the dome, which is a simple 9 by 9 sphere. Well, might be slightly different, but still, the idea still stands. With the mirroring on all 4 sides, now what you want to do is quickly go in and start adding some accent lines. Then add a lighting block to the middle of them, such as a verdant frog light. That will work well with green, and you want to do this on all the sides. And you can see the pattern here. Going to the underside real quick, you'll notice that, well, one, it's mirrored from the top. Ignore what I did to the very edge of the UFO, that's going to be changed back. But anyways, with this big hole under here, add a few gray concrete spikes, and then from there, what you want to do is, of course, mirror it. Here's my unsuccessful mirroring attempt. And maybe insulate the walls a little bit more. As in, go up there, you can see how there's, well, the edges to it. Just add a few blocks like this here and there. With those little thingies on the bottom, well, we have a flying saucer. However, I've realized that it's a little bit boring. And like I said, you can decorate the sides, you can try a little bit of lime concrete, but there's a better way we can go about this. Right here, I made some segments on the sides. And you can see from here, well, they're just thicker parts of the build. And if done right, well, they add a little bit of girth to the UFO. And yeah, that's an odd word to use, but it is true. You can see how it makes it a little bit more interestingly shaped. So you can try this on the different sides. Of course, it's optional, but here's how you do it. So first, we have our usual side, like this. And then, what we want to do is dig a hole in the middle. So we've done that. Add lime concrete behind it and a verdant frog light. Remember, they're angleable like logs. Then, we surround it. Add a little bit of lime and glass. And then on the tops and bottoms, you can see here, I have these little accents on the top with the lime concrete. Well, simply add more light gray to connect it to a gray concrete piece here. And if you're having a little bit of trouble, you can always ask in the comments for a world download. It's a little tough for me to set up otherwise, but I can always set them up upon request. So anyways, try adding these around, and then for the actual dome itself, this isn't going to be a very big UFO. So potentially just something like this could suffice. Also, right here, just add some lime concrete. We just have a light. You could potentially swap it out for something lighter like white concrete, but remember, this is going to be, well, the tractor beam. So make it mysterious, as if you don't know what's going to be on the inside of this thing. Now, you can see with those added attachments to the sides and a little bit of the underside, you can see here with a little bit of white here, and then some more frog lights and the beginnings of a tractor beam. Well, this UFO is looking pretty good, and it's decently sized. Not enough for really livable compared to the effort because it's a sky build, but still, it's an interesting thing nonetheless. If you're more interested in a smaller UFO, then my general recommendation is, well, just decrease the size of the circle while continuing to have the same amount of levels on it. You can see here we have 1, 2, 3, and then the dome. I do the same thing here, just on a smaller scale. And now it's time to work on just a little bit of the minor extra details. Do you really want so much lighting if you have the things on the sides attached? Because, you know, UFOs are mysterious because, you know, we can't get the best looks at them. It's up to you whether you like that or not. I think I'll leave the lights on. Anyways, for the interior, what you want to do is, well, go to the inside and see how much space you have to work with. Right here, we don't want the line peeking through, so roughly this would be the walls. And this is a decent amount of scale. Whether you actually use the dome itself or not is up to you. Turning on night vision for this because I know mobile users. But anyways, what you want to do is build the walls, make sure that there's an amount of room, and maybe a high chair so that way you can see out. But of course, UFOs are unidentified flying objects. We don't actually know what they probably look like on the inside, or whether these flying saucer domes are useful, or if they're even real. So, you know, you can take a few creative liberties with this. With all of these exterior bits done, and a little bit of the tractor beam coming in, I recommend having 2 layers, one lime, one white, and then you make them larger with each consecutive place. You can make the circles differently sized if you want, so maybe like this instead. Either way, it creates a cool effect. Then, what you want to do is go to the inside, make a chair, and something that could be interpreted as a monitor. It's currently powered off. I made a rough diagram of what the terrain near here looks like, and pretend like these walls are the screens, added some end rods because they're good lighting, and notice how I built the chair really weirdly. I've basically just predominantly used stairs, only a few actual blocks inside of it. But of course, you don't have to copy this exactly. I recommend just trying to make your own weird chair design out of this. Anyways, with this part done, technically you have one complete UFO. Of course, maybe something for it to beam up, but I find that they work well in swarms. So now with that done, we don't need this model anymore, so I'm just gonna, go obliterate it, typical Gearsaw stuff. But anyways, now with that UFO out of the way, I recommend building this a few more times if you want extra effect. And along with that, maybe put some things under it. Maybe this is currently escorting something away, maybe one that's landed, stuff like that. Right here, you can see I'm adding the tractor beam with all the concentric circles. For extra effect, I stole a villager house. Yes, theft is okay when it comes to builds. Well, anyways, right here you can see I've pasted a bunch more UFOs, and the only differences are the blocks actually used for them. Like this one uses smooth quartz, which is of course a little weird. And then these ones will use cyan terracotta in order to make them a bit darker. You can see that all of the major colors work really well here, so of course keep that in mind. So there's a lot of ways you can go about this, but generally, maybe give one a tractor beam, and the other one I'm planning to give a big laser, because of course, there's only 2 things that can come out of here. Well, 3. 1, aliens, they just beam themselves in. 2, tractor beam. 3, utter destruction ray. So, you can do those in order to make your UFO more interesting. Right here, I have myself a parked UFO, and well, there's nothing too noteworthy about it besides the fact that this could be used for a survival base. It is low enough. You could literally just put a bubble elevator in here, and well, it would be a pretty funny base. Although your interior space would be pretty low. And you're probably noticing, these UFOs have gone a little silly. This one, I swapped the colors, and then it's now firing a death ray. And here's how I did it. First, I started with a line of light-emitting blocks, in this case sea lanterns. It should be whatever you're using on the UFO itself, so frog lights, copper bulbs, etc. Then, I added some snow around it in order to make it more lightning-like, because a straight line was just kind of boring. Then, I encased it in white stained glass, and I built the outer shell. You can see a little bit of concrete up here just to make it a little bit different. But then the outer shell is blue, and then everything else ended up being cyan, light blue, etc. And you can see, creates an interesting death ray. On the ground, you can see some black concrete powder with campfires hidden below for dramatic effect, and then a ring of gray concrete powder. You could potentially add another ring, but I think that might be a little overkill. This is a pretty cool death ray. And then, right here for the tractor beam, I already talked about how to make the rings. Notably, I don't think the rings at the very bottom are actually completely accurate to a real circle, but oh well. Anyways, you can see I added some end rods too. Made sure to add some hanging roots to the bottom of the house. And with the end rods going towards the middle, well, you now have a UFO able to steal things, a UFO able to destroy things, a UFO to be self-advertisement to the channel with the coloration, and 3 other UFOs. They're just there. Well, anyways, I have a swarm of UFOs now, and they're looking pretty cool. So I'd say it's the end of today's video. If you enjoyed this video, remember, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out. Either way, enjoy the rest of your day. Gearsaw out.